Hello, everybody. I'm Brian,
And I'm Brian.
and this is Brian versus Brian, episode 239, The Sacrament, or as I like to call it, the Island of Dr. Minot. Okay.
The island of Dr. Jim Jones. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Key
this guy
West.
had a very Brando vibe,
Oh,
Monroe
yeah.
vibe here. Why you come to my island here?
I got a lot of, what's his name? Fucking, he's in all the Coen Brothers movies. He was in Roseanne, the big guy. Why am I blanking on
Yeah,
his name?
John Goodman.
Yeah, I was
There's
getting some
definitely
John Goodman stuff in there, too.
some Goodman vibes, some
Yeah.
Precious Gems vibes off this.
Yeah.
Uncle Baby Billy.
I just started watching that. That show's hilarious.
It's
Yeah.
fucking good,
It's
man.
so good.
I ain't got time for your chime-ins, nerd. Go outside.
So
The
funny.
actor is so fucking good. Everything he's in,
Yeah.
and it's always such different roles. God, it's
Mhm.
crazy. That guy's awesome. Okay. 2013 American found footage horror film written and directed by T.I. West. What's his Eli Roth presents? So what he produced it.
Yeah.
Film's plot is inspired by the real life events of the Jonestown massacre in 1978. Uh, Vice was not there in,
Yeah.
in 1978, so this is a bit of a different take on it.
Yeah.
May 1st, 2014. So it came out in 13 for a film festival, but didn't get an actual theatrical United States release till 14. Ooh, here we go. We got what the hell? We got Jake, Sam's cameraman, Sam, a reporter for Vice, Patrick, fashion photographer whose sister is a drug addict and was at a what are they, a recovery center, and then he received a mysterious letter. I like how it's like he received a mysterious letter. This is all like shit you're reading,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it goes to him reading the letter, and it's not very mysterious. I was like, ooh, that's so mysterious. What's going on? It seemed like a pretty normal letter to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
well, a lot of this movie is trying to present things in mysterious light, but when you sit down, you're like, "Oh, nothing's really that mysterious." I mean, eventually things do get mysterious, but for the most part, for the first like half of this movie, things seem pretty pretty chill to me. But they always try to present it as like something mysterious or creepy.
Yeah, and so he hooks up. I don't remember how he knows these people, but I don't. I think he's a fashion photographer, so he knows Jake and Sam from Vice or something. Like he's worked with them, I
Yeah, like
assume.
contractor or something. Yeah,
Tells them this mysterious letter story, and they're like, "We have to go and document this," because apparently, there's a phone number left in the letter, and they call it, and they said she left the country with the commune, and there's instructions how to find her. But what do they say? They don't tell her exact location. They just tell them where to fly to and say that a helicopter will be there to pick you up. And then we go with these guys, and I saw something about this that I think was pretty true. That making it Vice, who's going with them, and I know what Vice is. I've seen Vice stories, and
yeah,
they do
yeah,
some cool stuff. So people are kind of familiar with that, and gives a grounding to it, makes it seem more real. But also, it lets you have really good looking found footage, and you're not questioning it too much.
sure, sure.
Like if you had a normal found footage movie like this, you'd be like, why does it look so good?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have this kind of footage and these kind of cameras. But anyways,
It is interesting to see
uh,
Vice though, because and the time this movie came out, 2013, 2014, Vice was still pretty big. But Vice has kind of gone away. Like I don't hear anybody talking about Vice. It's been like probably 5 or 6 years since Vice has even been a topic of conversation. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, like when they popped up, like oh yeah, Vice. I forgot about those guys. Yeah, they kind of been off the map lately. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
yeah, I don't remember much about what they did. I do remember they
yeah.
did kind of weird stories, almost like a TMZ type news,
Hmm.
wacky stuff. Um, Oh yeah, they would be like Vice would go into like a Colombian cocaine manufacturing plant,
Yeah.
and it's always like somewhere with guns and people are almost killing you.
Yeah,
Or
it's
we're
like
gonna go
yeah, yeah.
spend a night with cannibals. Yeah.
It's like
Vice.
I don't know if this is a term, but if it's kind of like guerrilla journalism where it's like it's very gritty and gritty
Hmm.
subject matters and yeah, yeah. That's kind of what they were known for.
You're telling me this is where you make the cocaine? Yes, I'm telling you, and I will kill you if you. uh, yeah, so they take the airplane and go to wherever the hell they went to and get on this helicopter. Um, and then they land, and there's two guys with guns, and they're like, "There's not supposed to be more than one of you." But these are my friends. I didn't tell you, but they're my friends. We're all invited. You were invited, bitch. No one invited them. And yeah, to get in the back of the truck, and it has a lot of like reading. Like I don't know, they're trying to make it seem more like a news story and more realistic when you kind of read stuff
Yeah.
rather than just riding on a road to the gate. It says there was a 2 kilometer road leading to the gate.
Mm.
This is that road story. Dum, dum. We're on the road now.
Yeah, yeah. A little on the nose. We get it. We can
Yeah.
see it.
And they pull up to the gate, and it's a little wooden gate, and there's people with guns, and they're kind of alarmed by that. And then his sister uh, comes up, Caroline. Oh no, these are my friends. Let them in, Chauncey. Thank you. Yeah. Don't. And he's like, "Do you mind if we film?" And she's like, "No, you can film anything. Just cut out that beginning part, cause I don't want people to get the wrong idea. These are
Yeah.
just for safety precautions, because of what's around, and that's the only. We just have to have a secure border between us and the Aboriginals or whoever the hell lives here."
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, and she's kind of strange. And she's telling them all about the commune and how they built it, and everyone sold everything they owned and gave the money to father, and they all moved here and built this from the ground up. And what happens from there? Oh, they get settled. She's like, "Oh, a family moved out of this cabin for the two Vice guys for you guys to sleep here for the night." And what was the brother's name? Fucking
Jake?
Jake, yeah, maybe, yes, no, yes, Patrick. Patrick will be staying in the house, the big house with me. And then, anyways, they're unpacking and walking around and talking to people, and no one really wants to talk to them much.
Yeah, they get like a
Mm.
gardener. They get a woman
Mhm.
folding clothes. Then we get the two basketball players. That's I think those are the only interviews they
Yeah,
get. Yeah.
Miss D, Gardner. I think they'll call me Miss D around here. You know.
Oh,
And
and the
then
nurse. I
yeah,
forgot about the nurse. The nurse. To get
yeah, the nurse,
Yeah.
and then the Australian chick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the nurse. They have babies in here? Yes. Why do you seem surprised? You know, babies are born everywhere. The mother has the baby, not the hospital. Okay? You can have a baby anywhere. As long as the temperature's right. uh, yeah. And then, yeah, she takes Patrick and is like, I'm going to hang out with him for a while at the house. I think that she said they're setting up a party, right, for that night?
Yeah,
It's all
yeah. I think early on they ask if they can get. They're like, because as they're approaching, as they're coming into the commune, there's like a loudspeaker, and you hear this mysterious voice being like, "We got distinguished guest, everybody tonight." Blah blah blah. And so they're like, "Who is that?" And then they explain the father, and like, "Can we get an interview with him?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll go check." And then I think she comes back eventually, and she's like, "Yeah, there's going to be a party tonight, and we've agreed. The father agrees to an interview. We can talk to him tonight at the party."
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's when we
She's
get
like,
the party.
she's like, you'll have 30 minutes before the party starts for a sit-down interview with the father. When's the party start? At sundown. How? Okay. So this party strictly starts at sundown? Yes. How do we know 30 minutes before sundown? It's more of a vibe than a time. You know, you got a perfectly. So we just got to sit out here.
Yeah.
and tell her because we're gonna miss it. you know, you guys weren't here 30 minutes before sundown. You should have known now how this sun how it works. You should
Oh
have looked at
god.
your sundials, boys. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they setting up this party. There's supposed to be live music and all this stuff, and yeah, then they go there and there's like a stage set up, and she's like, "Yeah, he'll be here to answer some questions first." She's like, "We're gonna in front of everybody." She's like, "Yep, we have nothing to hide." And he's like, "Okay, I just usually don't do it like this."
Yeah, pretty weird, but
Strange.
all right. But all right.
It's like a talk show.
Yeah, yeah, with the big cross behind it. That's actually kind of a
Yeah,
cool set with like the
yeah,
stage with the cross behind
a
it.
little table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he comes out and they start comes out all. I think this is the first time we see him, right?
Yeah.
In the
It's the
movie.
first time we see it, yeah. We hear his voice, but it's the first time we've seen him.
Yeah, and it's just John Goodman, Precious
Hmm.
Gems vibe, Monroe vibe. It's, hello, my congregation. We are our distinguished guests. Let me get hooked up now. Gets a little lapel mic. Okay, go ahead, shoot. And he starts asking them questions, and uh, Father is pretty evasive on most questions. And then the questions get a little more serious, and he's like, "Now look at you. Of course, you had to go to the bad, didn't you? I don't blame you. Society has corrupted your mind.
Mm.
you want to make us out to look like freaks and goblins. We'll just have a peaceful commune here." And anyways, and then it kind of ends. And I remember he's like, "Oh man, I was shaken up. I couldn't. I didn't even. I only got through a quarter of my questions, and I don't think he answered any of those really." Because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
the motherfucker ran the interview. Like
Yeah,
this
he
is
gets
just
shooken up
this
because he asked him about his unborn daughter
baby,
or baby. Yeah, yeah.
which he told people about.
Yeah,
How'd
yeah.
he know? Oh my god! Now you're surprised I know about your unborn child, aren't you? Word travels fast around here.
Yeah.
Okay, around the peach cobbler table. And yeah, they're just having a party. He's like, "You're gonna enjoy this, and we're gonna have some live music." And then they're singing freaking old, I don't know, church hymns and stuff. Oh, Jesus came around there, and everyone's dancing and, and drinking juice.
Looked like a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was strange. It like keeps going back to like, oh yeah. Then he's looking over at was it Patrick? And Patrick's like fucking got that Australian and the other hot chick all
Yeah,
over
like
him,
two
and,
chicks. Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, okay, that's weird. What's going on here?"
Yeah.
And then they keep telling the time and stuff. It's like a 10:40 or something p.m. and like all these kids are out there too partying.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's kind of weird. Uh, yeah. Anyways, what?
Oh yeah, finally
Remember?
we get something semi interesting at this point, which is that
Hmm.
when they arrive, when they're walking around talking to people, they're like in their bunk or whatever, and they just have like a screen door, and they're just kind of sitting there setting up equipment or something, and randomly we just see a girl standing there, not saying it, so it's just standing at the doorstep,
Hmm.
and they see her and they open it, and she like runs away, and they find out, they run into her mother. The mother is like, "Oh, she's mute, don't worry about her." Anyways, they
Yep.
see her at the party that night, and the little girl walks up to the main guy, Sam, I think,
Yeah, I think so.
and she hands him a piece of paper. He opens it, looks down, and it says, "Please help us."
Please help us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please help us. And it's like, ooh, okay, okay, it's starting to get a little spicy here. And so they're trying to kind of go find her, and she keeps evading them for some reason. I don't know, but
What do they tell her? They say, "Get out of here, nerd. We ain't got time for your chime-ins. Get out of here, mute. If you're gonna tell me something, say it, girl. Use your voice."
oh my god. Oh, right. They chase her back to like the where everyone's sleeping, and then they run into a group of people. One of which is the mute girl's mom, and they're all like flustered and saying they want to get the hell out of there. They heard that they came by a helicopter and they're going to leave in the morning. Please take us with you. So we finally get a sense that something
Yeah.
is not right with this commune.
And they don't. That's. Did they tell them about the beating during that time, or they meet up again? Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
So she
that
says
time,
they
yeah.
They beat her. Look at her neck under her hair. They use her hair to hide it.
Yeah.
And then
That's
like
why she's
that's why she
mute.
doesn't. That's
Yeah,
why she
yeah,
doesn't speak no more.
yeah.
They've beaten the voice out of my daughter. We gotta leave. and, and then it's like, well, we don't got no room on the helicopter, man. This is a small helicopter. We'll
Mhm.
see what we can do, but and then they're torn because they're just journalists, and the cameraman's like, dude, we don't get involved with stories. We
Yeah.
report, and then whatever the world chooses to do, they will do. But we're not doing anything. That's not what we do. You know, we gotta take a step back and just observe it. We're not supposed to be
Mhm.
involved in it.
Yeah, and Sam is
And
the one getting emotionally involved
yeah,
because I think he's sees a little girl, he has a baby on the way. Like there's even the moment where
hmm
like their little, you know, night meeting there gets interrupted by two soldiers with guns, and the parents kind of flee for some reason, and they take the girl, and then they get back to the shack, and Sam's like, "Why didn't I protect her?" And then that's when you get the camera and be like, "Well, that's not our job. Our job here is to just fucking record and report what's going on. We can't intervene in these people's lives." But yeah, it's kind of a weird quandary people like journalists put themselves in. It's like, when do you help? When
yeah,
don't you? Yeah, it's kind of weird.
and it's I don't remember like what just that happened. And then I think they're looking for Patrick, right? And
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
they talked to Caroline, and she's like, "Oh, Patrick is with my two friends. I've been telling them about him for weeks, so they were pretty excited." And he's like, "I don't remember threesomes being a very Christian thing to do. Is
Hmm.
that?" And she's like, "Oh, everyone sins. Sometimes you got to have fun, and if Father says it's okay, it's okay."
And she's like
And they're like,
drunk, I think, right? There's something's off with her. She's either
"Something
drugged up or
seems weird
drunk.
about her."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, why would Father think that's okay?" Well, we think that Patrick would really fit in here and enjoy it here, and so we're trying to show him how much fun he can really have. And Mom and Dad are going to give him money, and then he could give us the money, and we could build a new well, and it's going to be so awesome. We're going to be, whatever the fuck. He doesn't need money.
yeah.
Um, and so you're just using him. No, he's banging two girls. That's not using him.
No. Uh,
uh, yeah, and then they're kind of looking for him. They can't find him, and then she goes into the cabin. He's like, Father's like, I need your assistance, Caroline, and she goes up there, and he like kind of grabs her around the waist, and I think they say he kind of vaguely threatens them,
yeah,
like, don't go peeking around now, get your hand bit by the dog for
yeah.
putting it in the dog
You
bowl.
reach for the bone, you're gonna get. Don't be surprised if you get
The
bit.
fuck does that even mean, man? He's like, well, now listen, sweetheart. You can leave a horse to water, but that don't make a horse a goat. Okay, you got to learn that by yourself.
Yeah. It's like what?
Okay, a three-legged dog still barks, baby. Sometimes you got to leave that alone.
Sir,
Like
what the
Doctor.
fuck are you talking about?
He's got all these Dr. Philisms and shit. Now you need to love your mama because she made you, and the world was an oyster. So,
Oh
but some
god.
people are allergic to seafood, baby. So remember
Oh
that.
my god.
And they're like, "What the fuck? Did he just threaten us?" I don't think so, but I also really think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, like these people supposed to be getting sober. Why is he fucking them? I don't think that's right."
Yeah.
And she didn't seem too sober. Yeah, she seemed a little loopy. And the next morning, I think something weird happened that night too with the cleanup crew they saw out there. They were doing
Oh
something
yeah,
weird. I
it's just
don't
a
remember
bunch of people
what.
working for some reason. You can't really tell what they're working on, but yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
bunch of people working late into the night.
And they wake up and they're still looking for Patrick. Um. Oh yeah, and they go out there to the main square, and people are like, there's arguments and kind of commotion going on. People with guns out there. Um, like a lot of people are trying to leave. Like I'd say like 20 to 30 people. It looked
Yeah,
like
yeah.
families trying to leave, and they're like, "What's going on?" Caroline's like, "Oh, they just haven't seen any visitors in over a year. You guys got them all worked up, and now they think they want to leave, but they don't really want to. They can't leave." And he's like, "What do you mean? I thought you could. They can leave, right?" She's like, "Yes, that's not what I meant, but." Metaphorically, they can't leave. God, listen, idiot. And yeah, they're all getting crazy, and I don't remember.
I think Sam is trying to get, because the whole idea is like they want to get that little mute girl on the chopper, and she's part of the commotion, and so Sam is still
Yeah,
trying to figure that out. So he's like, "Hey, cameraman, go to the fucking chopper because it's gonna be here in like 5 minutes, whatever it was, and just let them know like we're on our way. I'm on, just wait for me at the chopper." So then now we're getting two dual simultaneous things happening at once. We're cutting back and forth. We got the commotion at the pavilion, and then you got the cameraman at the helicopter. Um, and then what? Oh yeah, the cameraman gets the helicopter, starts talking to the pilot. Seems like everything's okay, and then fucking pop 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 pop. The driver gets
yeah,
fucking, or the pilot gets shot, and yeah, things start to escalate very quickly.
yeah. Which you could have just killed this guy before the drive,
Hmm.
right? And then problem solved. But
Yep.
yeah, they're making a lot of weird decisions.
There's a lot of
Bring
weird
him,
decisions in this movie that don't
yeah.
make any sense. Yeah.
Bring him to the helicopter, then shoot the helicopter pilot. Not the vice guy, just the
Yeah.
pilot. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why? And then it's like, go talk to the helicopter pilot that's 2 kilometers away, and then come back.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where I'm at that point. I was like, you sure they're gonna want to drive me all the way there, then drive me back, and then drive us both back over there? I don't think so.
Yeah.
They don't seem very. They seem like they're kind of not liking us right now.
Yeah. Let's
So
get the fuck out of here.
yeah, and she's saying you guys ruined everything. I should have known. I fought to get you guys here. They're my family. You're not my family, and some shit like that. I don't know if did they ever hook back up with Patrick during this part, or do we see him again before?
He does intervene at the pavilion situation, but he's quickly like hit in the head and falls down. And then yeah, we see him
Oh yeah,
later on, but
and then Father's like, grab that camera. I want this filmed.
oh yeah, this
Gi-
is when the big moment happens. Yeah.
Give me an establishing shot and then pan through and give me a nice 3/4. Okay? Give me some B-roll over here of the children's.
Yeah. Some depth of
Thank
field
you.
now. Depth of field.
Yeah. Now, don't make it too glossy now. We want a little grit to it. Come on, now it's Vice. This ain't Entertainment Tonight, baby. This is Vice. You know?
Mise en scène.
So, yeah, we got that going on. What do we got here? Yeah, then they got, I don't know. He starts talking about, look, they've ruined our community. Now these people are going to go back to their big city towns, and the U.S. government's going to come in here and bomb us and massacre us. Okay, and then it's like that's his first excuse, and then he's like, well, we're going to kill them, so they ain't going back. But they go back or they don't go back, they're still going to send someone to look for them, aren't they? And everyone's like, yeah. Yeah, like no one knows they're in this barren jungle in Nicaragua or wherever the hell.
Yeah.
No one knows. In the middle of a forest, a helicopter came in. Anyways, that's what he proposes. And then they got their giant vats of Kool-Aid. We know where this is going.
Yeah,
pouring
yeah.
all sorts of weird liquids and powders in them. Like a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I want you to drink this, and this isn't suicide now, y'all. This is a sacrifice, the final sacrament. Okay? We're going to give our bodies to the Lord, and we're going to all go with each other and walk hand in hand into eternity. Don't be scared now. Give it to your children's. Give it to the children's. And they have like little syringes of it for the babies and stuff. It's
So awful.
There's some gruesome children stuff in this.
Yeah.
Little Eli Roth and his, shocking stuff. It's not a lot, but there's a little bit. And I was like, okay. For how ungruesome most of the movie is, there's some parts. Yeah, so they're convincing everyone to drink it, and they're like, no, there'll be no convulsions, no pain. You just go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then everyone's drinking like, ah! It hurts so fucking Watch! Ah!
Oh my god.
Oh, what kind of Kool-Aid is this?
So awful.
Oh, fuck. We're all foaming at the mouth and jumping around. And I guess this was, this is based off, what the fuck was this based off of?
Jim Jones, the Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah, the Jonestown Massacre, which is pretty similar to this, except there's no Vice, and nobody's filming it. And that was in 1978. And I read some about that and saw some of the stuff. The gate like looks just like this when they enter and stuff. And they did. I think it was more people than they say in this. I thought it was like 200 something, but in this they say it's 176 people.
Yeah.
And they don't know exactly what happened then because there's no one there to say. They don't know if it's actual suicide or like forced massacre or what the fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting that it's I don't know. It's so loosely based on it that can you say, you know? And I don't like how they frame it as like this is, and the two survivors were the Vice cameramen. You can still find them today working the beat. It's like, that's not true. None of that's true. Why don't you just be honest with us, man? Come on.
I actually think the movie... Okay, first of all, I remember seeing this back then, and I remember enjoying it. I remember not being in love with it, but I enjoyed it. And I was watching the new Apple show with Seth Rogen called The Studio, which is fucking phenomenal. But there's a Jim Jones Kool-Aid reference in that show, and it reminded me of this movie. And I was like, oh yeah, it'd be kind of fun to go back and watch that. But now rewatching it after what, 10 years? Over 10 years? I think the biggest detriment of this movie is that it's found footage. I think I would have preferred this movie to have been a more straightforward narrative, because with found footage, you don't really get to spend time with any characters because characters just go away. Like that Patrick guy is on screen for maybe 5 minutes total for the movie, but like with a normal narrative, you can jump around to different people and see what they're experiencing. So yeah, I just feel like there's a lot missing from this movie by doing found footage. I think it would have been more beneficial to the story if it was just a normal movie, but I don't know. That's kind of how I felt while I was watching it. I was like, man, I wish this just was a normal movie.
Or if it was just about the actual Jamestown Massacre and a normal movie.
About,
yeah.
Totally.
That'd be good. The only survivor of the Jamestown Massacre was the man who wrote this screenplay.
It would be like all, like be like presented like a 4x3, like kind of staticky. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, so the cameraman is off on his journey trying to escape the guys and get back to the town after going to the helicopter. Sam is there and trying to find Patrick and talks to Caroline. And then we see Caroline has Patrick tied up in a room, and I think Sam is taken by the father.
Yeah, it's weird. Sam disappears for the first time we see Sam, and the entire climax of the movie is at the very end when he's tied up at the father's house. Like he's not present during the suicide thing. He just disappears for most of the.
And father's just like doing drugs and sitting with him. I don't know if he's doing coke or like pills, whatever he's snorting. I imagine like I don't know. Like he had all the drugs these people were doing. He's like, oh, if I'm fucking doing them now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then we get that.
You were saying we get Caroline with Patrick and everything. Yeah, that whole scene is fucked up.
Yeah, she's got him tied up and she's trying to drink this, please, just hurry. There's no time. Drink this. He's like, what the fuck is that? No. Oh, that's bitter.
Yeah.
I heard those people yelling that the Kool-Aid wasn't good. What flavor is this? It tastes kind of cyanide-y and bleachy, Tide Poddy. I don't know. And then he won't take it, so she has a backup plan. She has a syringe and just jabs him in the neck. Yeah. And he's like, "What the fuck was that, Karen? I don't want to die." And then he dies. Kicks his leg. And she caresses him and kisses him. Oh, it's okay. And then cameraman comes back. I think. Does he go and talk to Caroline first in that room and sees Patrick's dead? And then Caroline's like, it's over. You guys ruined it. We have to destroy the evidence. It's like, you're all going to be dead.
Yeah.
What the fuck you got to destroy the evidence for, dude? What are you talking about? We can't have any evidence about this. Everyone's dead. Why do
Yeah.
you care? So, and she's like pouring gasoline on all the shit, and then on Patrick, and then on herself. Pulls out a lighter. He's like, "Don't do it." She's like, "Ah!" He said it wouldn't hurt. He said it wouldn't hurt. It's like, dude, yeah, it's gonna hurt, motherfucker.
You know, you can just drink the Kool-Aid, right? You don't have to
Yeah.
fucking burn yourself on fire. It'd probably be a little, easier.
Sounds like the fire might be easier. I don't know.
That's true.
They both seemed bad. Maybe the fire will kill all your nerve endings after a couple seconds. I don't know. I don't know how fire works.
Pros
It's
and
still
cons.
new to us. Yeah. There's still a lot of science to be done on fire. I don't know. A lot of tests. Yeah, so we go back, and then he goes into the father's cabin, and he's sitting down there with Sam, and he's handcuffed to a chair. And he's just talking to him and doing drugs. I don't know what he's waiting for. It's just us three left now, isn't it? Yeah, and all the fucking gunmen.
Yeah.
What about who's gonna kill the gunman?
Yeah.
You ever think about that? And yeah, he sits down, and I don't remember.
He basically blames them again.
Yeah.
It's your guys' fault for coming here, and
like, we didn't do anything. And like, yes, you ruined it. Their deaths are on your hands. Of course, you can see this, can't you, child? Some weird shit. And then Sam's like, he has a gun. He's getting the gun. And then he gets the gun, and it has a brutal head blast. Pretty good one, where you get to see the blast and the back come out. And then they show him again when he has to get the key, and it's just blood streaming out of his nose and mouth. I've never seen like a suicide scene like that.
Yeah.
Where like they're profusely bleeding out their mouth and nose. I thought that was interesting and gory.
Mm-hmm.
Looked pretty good. And then I don't remember if this was before that or after. It was probably before it, but oh yeah, when that cameraman was hiding with the mom and the kid.
Yeah,
and they're in a cabin, and everyone's already dead pretty much, but there's a gunman going around making sure and killing anyone who's kind of like writhing around. And he's like, "Hide, get into the bed." And he gets under the bed, and he's like, "Hide, what are you doing?" And she's like, "I want to let them murder my daughter. I'll do it myself." And she has a giant knife and slits her little girl's throat.
Yeah.
And they show it. They show a lot of it.
A little too much of it, yeah.
Yeah. And then the guy comes in and shoots her, and then he gets out of under the bed and looks, and yeah, you see just the mom and the daughter just covered in blood, and you see the cut mark on the daughter. I was like, oh, God, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't show much, but the things you did show were like, man, do we need this? I don't know.
Yeah, I felt that way with the when they're taking the Kool-Aid and they get because you see the syringes in your mind, you're like, what the fuck? And you finally see what it's for, and they walk up to an infant baby, and like the mom's holding the baby, and they open up the little blanket and put this on. I was like, dude, come on, like, we get it. You could just imply that that's gonna happen. You don't actually have to.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough scene.
And then they show that mom, and she's very distraught while it's happening too.
Yeah.
Yeah, why didn't they just fucking have baby bottles? Be even more on the head. Just a bucket of baby bottles. Yeah, and after that, he kills himself. And they got to make their way back to the helicopter because the helicopter pilot is shot, but he's alive. And I love how he's like, "Go get your friend. Let's get out of here. I'll make it." And he waits.
Yeah.
He fucking waits. He's bleeding out. He has a helicopter. He's been shot at, and he waits for the two guys. I doubt it. I don't know. This guy just got a hero complex or something. But yeah, I think that's about it, right? Once father kills himself,
the father's house, and then they have to hide under some body.
Yeah, there's more gunshots.
And then you think they're going to get caught because one of them sees him, but then the other gunman has a change of heart, shoots that one, lets him go, and that's basically it.
And then he's like, "Get out of here!"
Like, okay, sure.
They didn't say anything at the end about the two vice cameramen were the only ones to survive, and the murderous gunman. He survived too. Still lives there with his family. Yeah, and then that's kind of it, and we kind of. Helicopter footage of them leaving,
Yeah, that
and
helicopter
then
shot's so sad. I don't know, just that wide shot of all the compound. Yeah, it's like fuck.
yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Not much happening throughout the whole movie. Father was a cool kind of character, uh, but other than that, and Caroline was, I don't know, kind of mysterious and hard to read at times. That was interesting. Um, the nurse was kind of cool because you could tell she really cares about people when she's helping them, but then she's helping kill everybody. And then I think
Yeah,
she left a note that says, please forgive me." And there's obviously something written on the inside of it, but they don't even go into that. I thought they could have, you know, uh, marinated that point and moment a little bit more, but they
hmm
didn't. So that's all we got. And then you come to find out not much of this is real, vaguely based on a different mass suicide.
yeah.
Eh, it's kind of fun. I don't think I've seen this before, but it seemed kind of familiar to me. Maybe I had seen it when it came out and just once, but pretty much first watching, I think. Um, yeah, it was. It moves along pretty quick. You're not very bored, even though there's not much going on. They're always kind of putting you with different characters and stuff that you get to learn a little bit more, but you don't learn enough. And I could have used a lot more um, stuff about the compound and the way the
Hundred
people
percent,
lie,
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
because they tell you they're hurting people, and they never go into that,
hmm
how or why or what happens.
Yeah.
So that's pretty important stuff that would have made it more scary. I don't know. It's okay for me. No, 5.9, almost a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, 6.4 for me. I didn't like it as much this time. And like I said, I already talked about how I think this could have worked better as just a normal kind of structured narrative. Um, but watching it, I found the excuse of why they have to commit suicide complete nonsense. Like that's one of my biggest problems with this movie. It makes no fucking sense. Like, oh, it's your guys' fault because you came here. And it's like you let them in. Like you let them in. So what do you mean it's their fault? If you didn't want them here, you have guys with guns and tell them to fuck off and go back to the helicopter. But like you, so logically, it makes no sense to me. Like I think it would have been better if the mass suicide was already planned. Like the party was for the mass, or the night before the mass suicide. Like all of this was
Yeah,
already planned, and they just wanted someone to document it for someone to make up some reason. That'd be a better reason than the reason that they give. And at first, I thought it was like, okay, that's what he's giving the reason to the people, and then when we get him later at the house, he's gonna actually like, well, I was gonna do it anyway, kind of thing. Like that wasn't my plan all along. But no, he doubles down and says, no, it's your fault. Like that makes no fucking sense. You let them in there. So that was really annoying. Um, yeah, I just remember watching this for the first time and seeing the Kool-Aid prep, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And you're waiting for it to be stopped. Like I remember watching it the first time, like, "Oh, someone's gonna stop this, whatever." But it's like, no, we watch all of it, and it's really disturbing and messed up. I do like when the found footage genre does something outside of horror. I mean, I guess it's technically horror, but like something that's found footage that's not like ghosts and demons and stuff. Like I love
yeah.
movies.
What did you call it when you picked it? You said
I think a found
a
footage
found
thriller.
footage thriller. I was
Yeah,
like, I've never heard of that. What is this movie?
I just kind of made it up on the fly. But I like movies like that that aren't necessarily ghosts and demons, like a lot of found footage stuff is. Like movies like Chronicle or Cloverfield, and this is a little more horror leaning, but this isn't really a scary movie by any means. So I kind of appreciate just seeing something different in this genre that's not scary. So I do dig that. But yeah, as a whole, like this movie is just kind of comes and goes. There's not a whole lot of meat to it. So yeah, 6.4 for me. It's fine. It's fine.
6.4, 5.9. If y'all want to check it out, haven't seen it, or you want to experience it again, it's on Peacock, and then it's also available to rent on most services. Uh, Yeah, so go take a look at the John Goodman wannabe. But John Goodman in this role would have been better.
Oh
I tell
yeah,
you what,
that was awesome. That was
it was real
awesome.
good.
Yeah, yeah. T West, man, it's interesting to look back because right, I don't know if you know this, but for those of you listening, T West now is known for the Maxine trilogy, the X, Pearl, and Maxine,
Oh,
which
okay.
incredible trilogy of movies. But back then, he didn't really have a whole lot. He had a couple like indie breakouts that were kind of interesting. So it's just kind of fun to kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, later on he does this awesome trilogy, but in 2014 he has a small little found footage movie.
Yeah, right on. 5964. Go check it out. We appreciate you coming by. As always, please like and subscribe here on YouTube. We're also on Spotify and Apple Music if that's how you choose to do your podcasts. We don't care how you do it. We just love for you to join us. Yeah, until next Vs, we'll say peace. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.